Happy holidays, everybody, and Tony here with my review of Giordano's Fedora with once again conductor John Fiore, which I saw at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. This marks the third overall time I caught Christoph Loy's production of Giordano's Fedora, as well as the second time I caught it at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, because I wanted to see, hear, and witness Rodrigo Garull perform the role of Count Loris Ipanov. I went into his performance not expecting a lot from him. I read his biography, and from what I've realized, he seems to specialize in a great deal of spinto and dramatic tenor roles, considering that he also began as a more lyrical tenor with the likes of the Duke of Mantua from Verdi's Rigoletto, and nowadays he's having a go at Calaf from Puccini's Turandot and the drum major from Berg's Wozzeck, just to name a few of the roles that he has done these days. So when I heard him sing Loris Ipanov, I was quite astounded at the dark and really fascinating color of his voice. It's almost like dark chocolate, the exquisite and exotic kind that managed to pour right out of his mouth, and his overall style, manner, and virility just made him all the more alluring to witness. When listening to Rodrigo Garull's voice, I'm reminded of an amalgamation of Giuseppe Di Stefano with his outbursts, as well as that passion that he has. But vocally speaking, it's more of an amalgamation of Carlo Bergonzi, Flaviano Labo, Bruno Prevedi, and Pedro La Virgen, as well as a little bit of Gianfranco Cecchelle and Giuseppe Giacomini, especially where that dark effect comes in. Just listening to Rodrigo Garull hit those dark, low notes almost reminds me of listening to Giuseppe Giacomini and Nunzio Todisco, two of the most exciting and excellent dramatic tenors of the Italian repertoire. So that's basically what I feel and hear from Rodrigo Garull in terms of his vocal prowess. He has that marbled tone found in the likes of Carlo Bergonzi and Bruno Prevedi, as well as Flaviano Labo and Pedro La Virgen, but also those dark chest tones and low notes found in Giuseppe Giacomini and Nunzio Todisco, as well as some of the explosive outbursts found in Giuseppe Di Stefano. He was in absolutely amazing form. One could ask for a lot more of a hair-raising effect a la Mario del Monaco, or a more laser-like voice found in the likes of Giovanni Zenatello, Giovanni Martinelli, or Giacomo Lauri Volpi. And if I want someone a lot more pristine, Franco Corelli. But I can't really complain because Rodrigo Garull is virility incarnate as Loris Ipanov. I love the dark color of his voice, which in my opinion really suits Loris Ipanov's tragic hero personality, and therefore he sold it for me as such a consummate, exciting, and intricate singing actor that I do want to hear a lot more from this particular spinto / dramatic tenor. He has wonderful material to work with, and therefore he proves himself to be a tenor to keep on looking out for in the most exciting way possible. So bravo to Rodrigo Garull as Loris Ipanov, all thanks to his vocal prowess as well as his theatrical capabilities. He went all out with a bang, and I do hope that he continues to grow a lot more in incision as well as that sword-like quality, because that is a voice with great potential to keep on growing, as well as ensure that it is also in its full element in the truly dramatic Italian repertoire. He has become one of my favorite tenors to look out for these days, and just by plunging headfirst into his performance, I can say with great confidence that he definitely has a lot of magnificent material to work with. Vida Magnificuta struck again as Fedora, all thanks to her pristine technique, wonderful high notes, and that exceptional crystalline quality that has always made her a singer that I truly cherish, bar none. She continues to deliver the vocal goods, and that crystalline quality has always been her greatest asset ever. Sure, I've always wanted rounder, richer voices found in Maria Caniglia or Renata Tebaldi, or even the complete package that was Maria Callas. But Vida Magnificuta was a complete package in her own special way. Consider this, she also has that amalgamation reminiscent of Magda Olivero, Lisa de la Casa, Eleanor Steber, and a little bit of Leonie Rizanek. And that silvery quality that she possesses almost reminds me of Gundula Janowitz because of how she was able to hit those high notes and that tight vibrato that emits so much emotional, vocal, and an overall theatrical engagement and involvement. That is just how much I cherish Vida Magnificuta as one of the greatest singers of today, and she continues to use her vocal assets to the nines, and I have been on cloud nine just listening to her and witnessing her on stage. Yulia Muzichenko continues to be absolutely gorgeous and creamy toned as Olga Sukarev, all thanks to that pristine technique that she was able to exercise, as well as her darling stage presence that made her all the more alluring to witness. Navarsad Hakobian is still a pretty flawed baritone because his throatiness had been his Achilles heel, but he is still a dapper, dashing, and handsome doucerier, and his high notes were definitely well attacked. So if he continues to work on his technique in the best possible way, as well as in the most constructive way, he can definitely come into his own in the more cavalier baritone or grand seigneur baritone repertoire. For now, he has wonderful material to work with, but it's just that he needs to ensure a lot more vocal development and more pharyngeal singing. Tobias Keira was handsome, virile, and formidable as always as Gretsch. Michael Bachtadze was still as handsome as well sung as Dr. Lorek. Matthew Pena was equally handsome and absolutely exciting as Desiree. Michael Domovsky was noble and bright-toned as Barone Rouvel. Artur Garbas continues to steal the show with his handsomely toned, gorgeous, virile, and dark chocolate-toned baritone as Chirilo, the coach driver. Volodymyr Morozov was still a resonant Borov. Chris Reynolds, with his absolutely amazing piano playing and dapper stage presence, was still a dapper, dashing, and thoroughly charismatic Bolesław Latsinski. Ariana Manganello continues to take advantage of her coordinated chest tones and fabulous musicianship as Dimitri. François Bader was sweetly toned as the little Savoyard. Benjamin Dickerson continues to be a virile Nicolas. Maximilian Reisinger was also just as virile as Basilio. And the continuously amazing acting efforts done by Simon Grinberg as Sergio, Andrea Sparta as Michele, Hanno Jusek as Dr. Müller, Niall Fallon as Ivan, Koray Tuna as the second police agent, and John Christian Vosberg as Vladimiro were absolutely astounding as always, and they also bolstered the entire performances. So overall, this singing, especially from Rodrigo Garull, continues to be of absolutely wonderful quality. And speaking of Rodrigo Garull, he was definitely in his element when it came to that signature dark and handsomely velvety voice as a spinto/dramatic tenor. He does have that marbled tone and that marbly quality that I've learned to appreciate so much about him, that I would love to see him in a lot more roles. Who knows, maybe one day he could definitely own it as Radames from Aida, or even Don Alvaro from La Forza de Destino, Ricardo from Un ballo in maschera, Ricardo also from Oberto, Aroldo from Verdi's Aroldo, and maybe even more performances of De Grieux from Puccini's Manon Lescaut and Cavaradossi from Puccini's Tosca. The possibilities for this spinto/dramatic tenor are absolutely endless, and if he continues to take some wonderful singing advice from Mario del Monaco, Richard Tucker, and even Giovanni Martinelli and Mirto Picchi, unless I forget about Mario Filippeschi, then he can definitely grow in incision and a way more excitement if he continues to develop that metallic quality that has made him a very formidable singer. The conducting done by John Fiore continues to be absolutely engaging. He continues to whip up that orchestra into fantastic shape, and he was also just as nuanced, to the point where I was thoroughly involved in everything that he accomplished as a conductor, and the chorus and the orchestra of the Deutsche Oper Berlin continued to be absolutely impressive. Rodrigo Garull definitely struck a strong first impression on me as the listener, viewer, and overall witness. He was able to convince me that he can tackle the spinto and dramatic tenor repertoire in his own special way. That dark, marbly quality has made him a singer to look out for in the best way possible, and he just has a voice that has made me thoroughly excited for him in terms of his brilliant future and the repertoire that he continues to ace in. That is just how much of a wonderfully charismatic, virile, and exciting singing actor Rodrigo Garull really is, and he bolstered the performance of Giordano's Fedora, especially when he stood toe-to-toe with Vida Miknevičiūtė as the title heroine. And for those of you who caught this performance of Giordano's Fedora at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, what'd you think of it? Did you feel that Rodrigo Garull did a fabulous job as Loris Ipanov? Was there another singer who stole his thunder, such as Vida Miknevičiūtė as Fedora, or Yulia Muzichenko as Olga Sukarev, or Navarsa Hakobian as Dussirier? Or did you feel like Rodrigo Garull did not really hold up on his own as Loris Ipanov? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my review of Giordano's Fedora at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, starring Rodrigo Garull as Loris Ipanov. Tune in next time for my review of Puccini's Madama Butterfly at the Staatsoper unter den Linden, starring Corinne Winters as Cho-Cho-san. So until then, happy holidays, everybody!